This is the 22nd season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk about bass fishing. We're going to dive into the Bassmaster Classic Expo today with a little behind-the-scenes look. If you watch any of the social media, you'll see all the booths and guys set up there talking about what's new. There's going to be some new stuff this year too. It's going to be pretty wild, I think, on a number of different fronts. And then if you're at the Bassmaster Classic Expo, it's pretty much the only time that the general public has a chance to kind of get their hands on the new products. A lot of companies have kind of started to treat that middle of March a little bit like ICAST. I would even say more so, but at ICAST, which is in Orlando every year, that's kind of where the new products are unveiled, but it's not open to the public. So the Bassmaster Classic, you can typically buy stuff there. You can get your hands on stuff, and all the guys who are at ICAST are at the Bassmaster Classic. So you're talking bait owners, company owners, guys who invented the products, the whole nine yards. That's no different at Knoxville. But in past years, I'm not doing it this year. In past years, I've gone and kind of helped set up some of the behind the scenes classic things. Like when you're not in the classic or fish the elite series, you got to get your brownie points in somehow. And a lot of times that's, setting up pegs and helping organize stuff. If you can, it kind of depends. I don't know if I can say this on what the Teamsters Union is like in that neck of the woods. Sometimes they don't let you touch stuff and they charge you $1,000 a box to carry it in. I see our guests laughing below the screen right there. Other times you can carry stuff in and set it up. But we're going to have Blake Price, a longtime sponsor of the show, and a building a monopoly in the mount and accessory games around these boats with Beatdown Outdoors. Kind of a cool story there. I think they're over 5 years into this. I think they're 6, 7, 8 years into this thing with the graphs. Like it's could not imagine where they thought it would go when they started building graph mounts, and they're like, hey, this forward facing sonar thing, you can get the graphs closer, and then kind of transition to a lot of things that aren't forward facing sonar on that. Anyway, we're going to have him on, talk a little bit about some behind the scenes stuff that goes on. Let's talk about a couple tournaments before we bring Blake on, though. It's always good to win the week before the Classic, even if you're with a competing league, MLF, Zach Burge, with the yellow see-through aviators, goes to Texas, dominates the final two rounds. Big stick, big line, 75 pounds, 1 ounce. That's the name of a song, a Stoney LaRue song, I believe. It was an Oklahoma beatdown in Texas as Zach Burge and Edwin Evers finish 1-2, 75-1, 44-12 for Edwin. I don't know what Zach's schedule is. That lake isn't that far away from Oklahoma where he lives. I'll reach out to him, see if we can get him on the show. Also filming the Bass Pundits show with Andrew Upshaw, Ish, and Todd. I think we're filming it. We're actually supposed to film it yesterday, and I didn't hear anything from him now that I mention it. I have no idea if we're doing a classic episode. I would assume we're doing a classic episode. And then after we have Blake on, I've been doing a little cleaning in the studio. I found the 1998 Bassmaster Classic Report magazine. And just me and you guys, we're just going to peruse through this magazine. There's hot baits in here. There's what you can expect. There's a whole article about etiquette if you're planning on getting on the water and watching how it goes down here. That Ray Scott has an article in front about how there's 5 guys from the West Coast in this Bassmaster Classic. This was the 1998 Bassmaster Classic. There is even, I don't know if I should show it now or just wait. So you guys know what Hank Cherry won on. Yeah, I'm just going to flash it up here. So this is the 1998 press guide and souvenir program. This is a full page in that magazine in 1998. Are we bringing back the old school, or were they just way ahead of their times? Anyway, we're going to go through that stuff. I know the man is busy, headed to Knoxville for the Classic, so we won't keep him waiting any longer. Blake Price from Beatdown Outdoors, thanks for jumping on BTL.
Good morning, Matt. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic.
So I saw you chuckling at some of the things that I said there about the Bassmaster Classic Expo. How many classics is this for Beatdown?
This should be our 6th one. So our first one was 2020 down in Texas, and that was a very unique show for us. It was the first time we'd ever been Bassmaster, and yeah, we got put out in the barn. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but we were in the barn, which turned into an oven because the AC didn't work. And that's the Classic that got moved. It was supposed to be in March, which I'm assuming temperature-wise, March is a little bit nicer in Texas than June. And yeah, that was rough. So
yeah, that was when they had, didn't they try to pipe like mobile air conditioning in, and then they had these giant tubes that they would poke holes in that would shoot cold air through the entire, and it was literally in a horse barn.
Yeah, it was literally a horse barn. And yeah, they did. They routed basically ducting through the, I mean, they tried. We got to give them credit for that. They tried, but it was so hot. I think our booth was like 97 degrees that year. And it just started at that temperature in the morning. It was unbearable. But yeah, that was our first Classic. It was an interesting experience to say the least. So
I've had you on the show. I've had some of your guys on the show a lot, talk a lot about the Beatdown products, use them on the Bass Cat. I think they're kind of a staple in the industry now, which kind of has to make you proud to see that, as far as literally you had to basically have guys and say hey, will you try this? And no one had ever seen it or anything. And now you've got guys like I mentioned to you before. It's kind of cool. You go to any local tournament, anything, and there's a lot of guys with Beatdown stuff on it. But as it started before, you're like a manufacturing company who started dabbling in the fishing industry when you saw a need for something, right? So it wasn't like you just decided to get into the fishing industry. You're a fisherman in another industry, and then you said, we've got a machine that can do that, let's try it, and it kind of snowballed from there. Is that kind of the down and dirty version of how it started?
Yeah, basically. So I mean, my dad and I, Todd, we co-own a machine shop called Ideal Tool, and that company's been in business for over 30 years, going on almost 35 years now, still running to this day. That's my other half of my job that I do on the day-to-day. But basically, yeah, we're just fishermen, man. We're 30 miles from Truman Lake. It's a great crappie lake. So when LiveScope first came out, it kind of changed how everybody was fishing. And really, we just designed them out for ourselves. We had no really dream of becoming a mount company or anything like that. But we like making kind of the best of the best stuff. It's always kind of been what we did, and work hard on things too. So we made something that we thought was indestructible at the time, and really we just kind of made a mount. And a buddy of mine, it's like, hey, I think you guys could probably sell this. So we actually got that patent, and that was in 2019, I think.
So was that? I didn't cut you off there, but I want to pull it up. Yeah. So was the first mount, probably as a professional in the industry and you sponsor the show, should have gone over more of a structured show plan on this. So was that the ultimate? I guess the very first thing ever was the ultimate.
Yep. And one graph, and basically it was, we wanted to get it up off the deck of the boat and back down quickly. I mean, at that time there wasn't really a mount out there that dropped the screen back down to the ground. So it was everything was just up in your face. When we got into
wobbled around.
Yeah. When we got into the market, nobody had just come out with something that, I don't even think there was lay down mounts at that point in time when we designed that. So, that was the very first. That was the flagship product for Beatdown Outdoors, was the ultimate. And then
so how long did dude, I do a podcast here. My dad was an engineer, so I have a slight for like 40 years, so I have a slight understanding. But like, you've got the tool manufacturing. I know this is probably isn't where you thought it would go, but I'm curious about this. And you're like, hey, pops, it'd be cool if we could get this screen up higher because there's this new thing called live scope, and then everybody has scoper's neck, and then you probably well, I was going to say you probably showed him a picture of Drew Gill scoping, but he was like 7 at the time. And so then what, you go like into a computer and you do like a deal and you just start like putting metal in a machine and then it comes out and then you strap it on the, like, how does that process work in a layman's terms?
Yeah, honestly. So Todd was probably the biggest believer in beatdown from the very beginning. At that time, COVID was starting to happen too, Matt. That was kind of an odd time in industry. So had it never been for COVID and that whole craziness, we would have never gotten involved in it. And the reason I say that is because we were so busy running a machine shop that we never had time. Like when we had time, we went fishing or we hung out with the family. So at that time, it started to slow down just a little bit. And Todd basically broke off. He just started designing stuff, man. It was his dream when he was younger. Todd's in his mid-60s now. When he was, a young man, he really wanted to be involved. He's built boats from scratch. I mean, he's done a lot of things that just wasn't in the right time or whatever. But he was a guy that just sat down on the computer and drew everything up, and we would talk about different ideas. And he did all the design work on the Ultimate. But by himself for the most part. We collaborated a little bit, and that's how it got started. He was like, he's the one that kind of saw or thought, that Beatdown could really be something. So he was the guy that did all the design work. And then, we had all the equipment here. So that's probably, like I said, timing and just the way Beatdown started. Like it had to be the right time, and it just happened to be two guys that, could really make anything. We've got a pretty big machine shop. So
from the time you had the first prototype to the time you were Beatdown Outdoors and offered the Ultimate for sale, how long was that?
So we designed the Ultimate in 2019, and we didn't want to get it out on the market or really in front of anybody until we had a patent. So it was actually Mr. Crappie Invitational Table Rock, October of 2020 was the very first trade show we ever went to. That's the first time we really tried to sell it. We had a website and stuff before that, but that was probably the first, like, hey, we're a company, we're going to try to do this thing.
And it took off in the crappie stuff. The first time I had ever heard of it, I know, was Kevin Rogers, who's a professional crappie guy who then went to bass fishing. But like, if you dabbled in the crappie world, everybody had these elaborate mounts that they could only go 30 miles an hour on because the whole thing was shaking. And then everyone went to Beatdown on it. And then the bass guys were like, there ain't no way that I'm using that goofy thing. It's going to get in the way of the jerk thing. It's going to get in the way of casting and stuff. And then once they realized that it was adjustable and it didn't have to be at your nipples, you could keep it at your shins or your thighs or however, because it was adjustable, then you could drop it, run 70 and not rip the fiberglass out of the bow of your boat with the forces. Then it was kind of off to the races.
Yeah. You mentioned Kevin Rogers. So he was the first guy that was like, here to send it to me. So Kevin lives about an hour from my house, from where I live. And, at the time, and a good buddy of mine that was kind of helping with Beatdown, then knew Kevin because they both fished crappie for tournaments together. And, I was kind of I guess you would say a fan of Kevin. I always watched Kevin because Kevin fished Truman a lot. That was kind of his home lake. So I knew who he was, but I never had met him. And we literally just drove up to his house and like installed on the front of his boat. At the time, I actually think he thought it was a joke because I think Kevin's whole entire point of putting that on his boat was to try to break it. Because the very first trip that I remember Kevin going on, this is a silver mount, dude. This was like the first one we ever made.
Yeah,
he takes it up to my lax and like he's busting through. He sends me a video going through these like 6-foot rollers, and like there's water coming over the boat. Like, I mean, just like it was just like, man, this thing's not going to survive his first outing, but luckily it did. And kind of the rest was history with Kevin. He's a really good dude. Great.
So one of the things I tell people about Beatdown is it's an investment in it. Like, you've got a $3,000 or $4,000 graph, but these aren't $150 graphs. I mean, you have different versions of it, but when it first started and you're coming out with a $500 graph mount for a single graph, did you have any nervousness that people would be like, I ain't spending $500 on just a mount for the graph when that comes with one on the boat when you can get them for half of the price?
Yeah, I mean, you say that was probably the biggest battle in the very beginning, was we were the most expensive product on the market. But I mean, we eventually, I feel like people started to trust the Beatdown name after we've been out there for a while. You know, that was the thing. Like for us, customer service is one of the biggest parts, one of the biggest pillars of our company. I mean, we want to take care of people, and for us to design something and go through all that, you know, we're going to put the best product out there that we possibly can. And if we ever have a customer that has an issue, we take care of it. Like that's just how we see customer service. So, so yeah, no, it was definitely an uphill battle in the beginning, Matt, because we were, you know, yeah, you're right. We were the most expensive mount by over $100, I think, at the time. But eventually, I think people started to see what the quality was, and you know, it is. I mean, the ultimate is it's indestructible. You're going to rip the fiberglass out of your boat before you damage it.
Not if you install it. Not if you install it properly. You won't rip the fiberglass or damage it. It will stay there for eternity.
Yeah. At one point in time, we extended it all the way out because people were kind of, you know, doubting us on the strength of it. We picked up like 800 pounds with the Ultimate. It's like, look, I mean, it's made to last. I mean, that's what we wanted to.
So I don't know much about the other half of your business. Is it Ideal Tool Manufacturing or whatever? What is that? Okay. So do you do a lot of trade shows and things like that on that half, or was all of these shows, Blake, you know, the Beatdown embroidered on the nice golf shirt, making sure you got the hair done, standing in a booth for 12 hours a day, answering the same questions for 4 days in a row? Was that all kind of new to you as you got into the whole fishing side of it and Beatdown started to grow?
Yeah, Matt, that whole thing was just like, we just jumped in and went. Like we were learning on the go. No, yeah, Ideal Tool is a very, like, I say it's not as a flashy company, right? Like we have customers we've had for 30 years. We've got 12 to 15 commercial customers. We don't go to trade shows. You know, we're a regional machine shop, so we'll reach out to Kansas City and a couple places out in Ohio and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's a real kind of set in stone cookie cutter business. Like we're not trying to rapidly expand it. You weren't
out in the public eye, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. So like when Beatdown started, like it was a learning curve, man. We had no idea what we were doing when we first started that. But you know, we hit it hard. I mean, we went to 6-8 trade shows a year in the very beginning, and we just met a lot of people. I mean, quite frankly, you know, OBT, Mike Bowser, Justin McClellan, we met them at the Mr. Crappie Classic. Our very first trade show, I met Justin, and quite frankly, he's been a friend for ever since then. I mean, we hit it off at that show. But
yeah, I just assumed you guys were friends, like kind of the same neck of the woods. Like I just assumed you guys were friends, like going way back in the day. Like maybe you'd like milled something for him in the late 90s.
No, no, yeah, it kind of seems like that now. But no,
I mean, it does. I just found that out now.
No, we you know, honestly, you know, I know Wally's not doing that show anymore, but we met some of the very best people we still work with today at that first Mr. Crappie Classic at Table Rock that we attended. But those guys have been a lot of help, man. I mean, they've helped navigate the waters of ICAST and you know, we did the first couple Bassmaster Classics on our own, and you know how it is. Once you start to meet the people in the industry, there's a lot of really good people, and it's a small industry at the end of the day. So, but those guys really helped out. Like I remember when we were in Texas, very first classic, we were standing out in the barn / oven, and we would walk into the main hall, right? Like that was in a different building. It was air conditioned. Everybody looked happy there. And I remember talking to one of the guys that was with us. I was like, I hope one of these days we can make it to the main hall. You know what I mean? At least be in the air conditioning. That was our main thing. So, and now to kind of fast forward to today and where we're at, it's incredible. And we're really blessed to be where we're at and have met the people we did along the way. Timing was most of it when you look back at it. So.
Yeah, so I mean, you're actually, you know, some people talk a lot about how the technology is killing or hurting a lot of companies, which it is true, especially in the bait market and stuff in that. But on the flip side, you can also look at other companies and innovations and things that have come up that has helped build a lot of new companies and bring more growth and more people and more money into it. And I think Beatdown's a great example of that.
Yeah, we've really piggybacked on the live scope and live sonar technology. Obviously, that's what kind of got us on the map. And now we're at a point where we've got an engineering team, we've got an engineering manager. Our company's grown to the size where we're going to start to diversify a little bit on our products. It won't just be mounts or transducer poles or something related to live scope necessarily. It's going to be anything in the marine industry or fishing industry. So that's kind of the plans for the future as we just keep growing in that way.
Like, how many bow mounts do you currently offer? Like, how many different variations between kayaks, basics, bass boats, everything? I mean, are you over 20? You're over 30 different options.
So that's kind of what some people don't really realize. The Ultimate Series mounts, there's over 20 combinations just in that series. So there's the Ultimate and then the Ultimate Shorty, which is basically just a shorter version of the Ultimate.
That's what I've got, I think.
Yeah, right.
I've got the Ultimate Shorty. That's what you would say the majority of bass anglers run is the Ultimate Shorty. The majority of crappie anglers, maybe if you have back issues, if you like to have something up closer, that's the Ultimate. It goes up higher.
Yeah. And we have quick release versions. You can put 1, 2, 3 graphs on them. There's over 20, I think, options just in our Ultimate series. We have single pole options also. So like the Ultimate Shorty and the Ultimate, they have 2 different stages that they can raise up. The single pole series is just one. It's just got one collar that slides up and down. So I mean,
that's what I run right there. And I've never had it up with the extender pole in it, just in my bass boat. But if you watch the video that I just did, I pop it up, I think probably 12 inches.
Yeah. There's 3 different lengths of extensions. Yep.
And so from there, I will say this: did you know how fast the bass world moved when you got into this? Because it was five years ago that you came out with this single pole, and now what we're about to talk about, you've got bow mounts, console mounts, transducer poles, transducer mounts, boat accessories, everything. It seems like it's just new product after new product after new product to solve problems that have plagued anglers, and then new problems that arise as we put more and more things on a vessel that is not growing in size.
Yeah, I mean, that's even since we've been in the marketplace or in the industry, I mean, if you look at it, like the graphs have gotten a lot bigger and people want more of
There's like 22-inch graphs out there now.
Yeah, and that's who they look at. Everybody and Beatdown or any mount company, like, well, how are we going to hold it? We're constantly innovating on that stuff. We have dozens of new products listed up on our boards. We have to just pick which ones are, that make the most sense to not only the industry, but financially as well. So we're just constantly looking at what's going on, how it's changing. We're looking at the kayak market. We're going to have some stuff come out for that.
There you go, right there. He was asking, he said, let's see some of these for kayaks.
Yeah. So that's coming. Interesting.
So what do you do then? Like you know what the issue is, or what you're trying to achieve. Do you then go purchase a kayak and then build products around the kayaks? Do you research what the different kayaks are, how they're mounting? I'm assuming weight, size, space, moving, that's a whole different animal. So that's
exactly right.
That goes then to your research team, and then for months they sit there, and guys with engineering degrees and milling or people who are smarter sit there and go this, and then you put it in the machine, it comes out, try it on, take it out, change it, and just do it over and over until you send it out to some guys and say, okay, try to break it.
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. We're actually working on building a new office and R&D space. So 5,000 square feet will be nothing but R&D, machining. Right now we have a kayak sitting in our office that we're trying to fit mounts and transducer poles up to. Honestly, just specifically talking about kayaks, they're all a little bit different. So that's what's a little. The boats are too, but kayaks are how you mount it. The different types of track systems on them, where the track systems are located. That's been a little bit of the challenge there, but we're getting through it. So yeah, it's coming.
I would say the last couple of years, the biggest buzz has been in what I guess the universal term would be a 0-degree transducer. And we've had Scott from the Bass Tank on who's described all that. You can go back and watch the shows. We've actually did an on the water where he was dialing in a transducer mount for my LVS 34, whether you're dealing with the Active Target 2, the Garmin's, or the Humminbird version of it. But
right,
you know, for lack of a better term, whether it's tilted and you're the 0-degree puts it directly in line. It's a smaller beam. You're going to think you suck at live scoping the first 2 months that you have it on, because basically the way I do it, it's a difference between hitting a cavity back and a forged iron. But 98% of everybody that is highly competitive fishing is now running some form of 0-degree. And at the Classic this year is really kind of the first time that guys will be able to get their hands on the finished version of the zeroed in live T mount, correct?
Yep. Yeah, that's right. So we launched, so we've been, I mean, just, you know, talking about R&D and how we do things. So we've been working on that zeroed in mount for over a year. We started, actually, our goal was to try to get something out last year by ICAST. And, you know, that's one thing we really try to do here, Matt, is we try to, when we launch something, we really want it to be the best version that it can be. I mean, we're probably, from a business standpoint, we're probably a little, you know, over the top on that.
I would definitely agree, because like the conversations that I've had with people that you work with are like, hey, I think this sucks. Go out, use it, and tell me if you think it sucks too. And then I would come back and be like, yeah. And then they'd be like, okay, I'll call Blake and we'll get this fixed.
Yeah.
And then a new one will come, and then you'll try it. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, that 100% fixed it. Like, it was actually kind of, the testing for the zeroed in was kind of brutal. Like, I mean, if I was in your shoes, my feelings would have been hurt a couple times during the process.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, yeah. I mean, you gotta have thick skin, especially when you're making new products, because, you know, what everybody that's testing it doesn't see is how much work has already gone into it to get it to you guys, you know, whoever's testing it. And then that, yeah, you gotta have thick skin, because a lot of the times you're just like, yeah, this isn't working. But that's the strength of our team. I mean, we have such a good team of people that we work with here. And you know, when it came to the zeroed in, like we held it up for a while. I mean, one of the big things for Beatdown is we want to do things differently. Obviously, with a zeroed in mount, for example, it's going to look similar to what other people have. I mean, it's really hard to change the way something looks, but the way it works is completely different than anybody else has on the market. And getting it to where it was fine-tuned to 5-degree adjustments was something that was really important to us. However, it's really difficult to do that, you know, without going down the same path somebody else did. So that was a lot of the reason why it took so long to come out, was just we were refining that, and we really want to get it to where it's down to 2.5-degree adjustment. I think we have a way to do that as well, but we'll kind of see how this goes.
So this is the cool thing about this, though, is basically, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I know that I'm not just saying that, is you can micro adjust the angles, the pitch, the levels, everything of your transducer. You can switch it into into the different modes. You can do it all. But in a day and age where, I mean, if you watch any of these guys on the water, you have to be dialed in, especially if you're competing at the highest level. This allows for more fine-tuned adjustment than any other similar product like on the market at all. And just like Beatdown, it's like really solid. Like, it does not move at all. Like, I've had mine on, I want to say 6 months now. And I adjust it just slightly up when I'm crappie fishing, when the fish are in the top part of the water column. I just twist it down a little bit when I know they're like in the mid column. Like in 2 days, like I adjusted it up because I went and filmed a CTL episode, and then I had to go do the Bassmaster Open where I knew they'd be deeper. And it has basically 4 different levels of adjustment, all on a micro level instead of just 2 or 3.
Yeah. So So one of the things we did, I mean, first of all, it's all aluminum construction or stainless steel. So that was some of the issues we were, some of the other companies fight is you got your tap holes will eventually strip out and stuff like that. So we went to an all aluminum stainless construction. And then, it goes from perspective to forward to down. And you have five degree of adjustment in every single one of those modes, basically. So one of the biggest things is we laser etched all the different settings on there. So, whatever setting you like most, you can say, hey, I like the dial at 12 here, and then I like my transducer set at 4, whatever it is. That I think that helps the end user a lot, because you can now have a conversation with a customer who's struggling. Because let's be honest, there's still a lot of people that have never had live sonar, and this is their first time buying it. And I remember the first time I bought it, it was very frustrating because nobody really knew how to set it up. Like, there was a picture in Garmin's instruction manual, but once we started to learn more about the technology, like everything matters. Having it at 0 degrees instead of 7 degrees is a big deal. So that's what we tried to incorporate in there to help the customers out a little bit.
And you'll be at the Classic. Guys can get their hands on this if they want to. There'll be a demonstration of it, of how it moves, turns, works, and everything.
Absolutely. Yep.
Fantastic. The next thing, I think that you said it's new to the Classic. Is that what you were showing me before we went live? Is the transom mounts and savers and all that stuff?
Yeah. So it's just something that this is kind of a box. So we've got basically 3 SKUs. We've got the clips, and then we've got the transom saver itself. So it's going to be 3 SKUs. You can buy them individually, or you can buy them in a combo. We're bringing a whole bunch of combos to the Classic. We just got the clips in. This is what the product actually looks like. So I'll start with the transom saver. We always catch a lot of drift. So a transom saver, basically, obviously it's not supporting the transom, but that's what the industry calls it. So it's a motor stop at the end of the day.
The only one that actually supports the transom is the stick style that goes down to the bottom, that actually rests like a forked stick in the bottom of it, that was popular in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, exactly. And we launched a product, and that's the first thing everybody says. It's not a transom saver, and they're not wrong, but that's what the industry normal name is. So that's what we named it. Basically, so what's unique about ours? This is a molded high impact plastic is what this is. And it's universal. So it fits Yamaha, Mercury, Suzuki, Honda. If you have a dual ram system, and it slides in there, and it works. I mean, it looks good. It's got the Beatdown logo on it. So that's the transom saver. A lot of people were asking for it from us. A lot of big customers were asking for it. So we went with that. And then on top of that, we also made the steering clips. So we actually really did do a lot of thinking about this product. So a lot of people know you got the ones that just lock in place, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've got scars on my knuckles from popping those things off and hitting my fingers on the counter.
Every time.
Yeah, it is so fun.
Every time.
Yeah, especially when it's cold.
That's when I fish with my buddy Juice. I make sure he takes those off.
Right.
I'm like, hey, get those motor savers.
Yeah, exactly. So when we went to looking at this, that was the first thing. I was like, well, we can just make something like that. And I'm like, no, let's do something different. So we came out with these actual clips. So they're almost kind of like a hair clip. That's what it looks like. And spring loaded, so it just fits down over the ram and it locks in place. And put one on each side of the motor, and keeps it from moving. So this product here is patent pending. It's something we started working on last year. And
is that even on the website yet?
Actually, we're just launching it. This is brand new.
Oh yeah, here it is. Right here it is.
Yeah. We haven't even done like the official launch yet of this thing. So you got
it. Kind of the first look at it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have the different like mounts and all that stuff at the Classic too, where people can come by, get their hands on it, move it up and down, and then you'll be there. Your guys will be there to actually, you say, hey, I've got this boat. This is the mount that I want, or this is what actually works and stuff. Because one of the other things that you do really well is customize. Like you see a lot of beatdown stuff on older boats.
Yeah.
You see the multiple beatdown stuff on boats that have weird configurations up front. I think that's kind of one of your specialties as well, is kind of working around odd configurations.
Yeah, we'll have the full booth there. So we'll have all the bow mounts, console mounts, the transom saver clips, 0 degree mount. I mean, everything we make will be some version there at the Classic. So you can come move it up and down, try to break it. We got a lot of people like to do that. And then, yeah. So, yeah, we'll have it all there. On the bow mounts, I think that's probably the biggest question we got. The very first show we ever went to was, well, how am I going to mount to the boat? And that's a great question because it's not easy to mount to a lot of different boats. So we'll have all the different mounting options there as well. So we got round and square mounting plates. We've got
that's key right there, isn't it, Blake? The under deck mounting plate is like the biggest key to the whole thing.
Yeah. So and not only that, we've got, if you go under the mounting options, go to level plates. We're the only company I think that makes anything like that. So we actually take the access panel off your existing boat, and then we fabricate. Yeah, click on that leveling plate for the FXR right there in the middle. We actually make this leveling plate that replaces your access panel, and your mount now has a nice flat surface to mount straight down onto. So I don't think there's anybody else that's really making anything like that right now in the industry. So.
And are you customizing that on an individual basis or on a like a boat, like a different like on specific, just for specific boats? Like this one's for the FXRs, the XR. Like if you have someone that's got like a 98 Bumblebee.
Right. Well, so yeah, we do some of that actually. We stock most of the popular models, and
okay.
If somebody has something that's just, we may never do another one, they can send us in that access panel and we'll draw it up for them and make it. So then, yeah, I think there's 30 different bridges we offer, going over the foot pedal system. So.
Oh yeah. Here's Ranger, Triton, Skeeters, ZX, Phoenixes, all sorts of them.
Probably 50 of them.
I'll tell you probably your smallest thing, but that I like the most, and I know a lot of people struggle with this, is as you run down the lake, your graph knobs always become loose, and then your graph starts going like this, and then boom, the plastic knob that it comes with comes off. Right. He gave me a handful of these one time, and I called back and I was like, I need them all for like all of them. Is this just like a little replacement graph knobs?
Yeah, we make
the ones that sit like right there.
Yeah, yep, and it goes with our LVS 34 knob, which everybody knows that LVS 34 knob tends to crack with Garmin, so we made a replacement for that. It actually comes with the zero-end mount, so we just made it part of that product as well. But
beatdownoutdoors.com, you can check on it. Like I said, do you know how many SKUs you have now total, like in everything Beatdown? Like you started with the one, how many like total SKUs are you at?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure. We're over 150, I would say. So I know we have more than, like, we're approaching 1,000 part numbers to make everything. So it's a lot. So.
And then are you still selling a bunch of the transducers and of transducer poles and the breakaway transducer poles and all that? Because that's something that I think is, I have never dabbled into that, but that got really big for like a 6-month period where Bass was letting people have whatever they wanted on their boats. And it seems like everybody had one of these things that they were putting at their console.
Yeah. So the transducer poles, I'll be honest with you, it's really popular in the panfish / crappie market, still is. Because a lot of guys, what people don't realize is a lot of guys like to spot lock or they brush pile fish. So they're spot lock with your trolling motor. And when you spot lock, I mean, if you have your live sonar attached to your trolling motor, you no longer can see where you're trying to cast. So having a little transducer pull off to the side, that's where people mount their transducer, and you can point it any direction you want to. But yeah, that's been that's always been a really popular product line. So we got, I don't know, 6 or 8 different transducer poles, I think. So we make them for pontoon boats. We've got some for track systems. So like Cisco 3-inch track system, we have them to go on that. We got them to mount to the rail. We got our fixed and breakaway version. And then we just relaunched a breakaway junior, which is kind of a middle ground between the fixed pole and our top end combo breakaway pole. It breaks away and then locks in when you run down the lake or whatever. But yeah, so we sell a lot of transducer poles.
And then one of the things that I've noticed too is I have gone. BTL sponsors Beatdown. So if I'm like, hey, I'm getting a new boat, I want to put this on. There's been like 2 years where you called and we're like, okay, what do we need? And I was like, I'm just using the one from last year. Like it's pretty, and like there's like a different plate and it just attaches to it. But the longevity of these things, it seems, I mean, it seems like it's, I don't want to say indefinite, but it's not a graph mount that you're going to have to replace every year.
Right. No, they're built to last. I mean, we actually designed the Ultimate Series to, if you wear something out, we'll have something that you can buy to replace it. But it's, that's why we built it the way we did. Honestly, we don't want something that we're going to have a bunch of customers call and say that, there's a problem with it, or it did, we didn't live up to their expectations. Even like our Flex Series, it's our laydown mount.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we still build that with, a lot of quality and longevity in mind. So,
what was this one thing that I saw? Is it? Hold on, transducer mounts. Is this specifically for a Garmin? I have no idea what this is.
Oh, that's for the Kraken.
What is that?
Yeah. So that's the 0 degree adapter for the Kraken. So if you just want to mount your LVS 34 to the Kraken,
that's just for Garmin though.
That's just for Garmin.
Okay, yeah. That's why I didn't know what it was. I was trying to figure out like if this was like some sort of like vibration dampening system or extender. I couldn't figure out what the hell it was.
No, we had one of our dealers called and was like, "Hey, I sell a lot of Krakens, and we need something made specifically for this." He actually was the one that helped design it. So
okay, so if you have a Kraken, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Are you looking forward to the Classic? Was I joking when I said like sometimes don't you roll up to the Classic, you start to unload your stuff, and they're like, no, Uncle Jim unloads everything here.
Yeah, it is a. Yeah, I don't want to talk bad about the Bassmaster Classic in general. It's any big show you go to, it's like that. It's like, it's not if something's going to happen, it's just when. So you're going to have a problem unloading specifically at some point in time. It's just, there's been so many times where, they charge by the pound when they unload stuff there. So, you're trying to move your own stuff in, and they've got a way to do it. And it's just, it seems like every year there's always something. And it's just, a lot of people don't see that side when you show up to the Classic. You see all these nice booths and all the people are there dressed up and everybody seems happy that they don't realize the chaos that happened 3 days prior to that to get it to that point. But it's any big shows like that though. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's incredible how much stuff people can set up in just a few hours. But
I would imagine for a company like yours, where once you get your hands on it, you see how it adjusts, how it feels, how sturdy it is, and all that, that you have to go to the shows because your product sells when people are either in the boat with it or are able to get their hands on it and see it, as opposed to just look at it on a website.
Yeah, the shows are important to us. Yeah, like you said, it gives our customer the opportunity to actually touch it, and move it through the motions and see, what we're actually producing. Like I said, in the early days, the first couple of years, we hit every trade show that made sense that we possibly could, just so people could put their hands on it, because it's very hard, in my opinion, to sell something off a website that, especially when it's new to the market, that no one can see anywhere. So we've got some good partnerships with box stores and a lot of dealers now, where that's obviously helping out. So the trade shows aren't necessarily something we have to attend at the same volume we used to, but yeah, these big events like the Classic, you're going to see 100,000 people walk through there in a couple days, and it's a great time to just introduce people to your company, and they get to meet everybody on the team. It's a pretty unique experience, really.
Did I miss anything out here, Blake? I know you're headed to the Classic here shortly. That would have to be hard to put your other business, like when you're at these things for 3 months out of the year, and then still run the other side of the business.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten a lot more challenging in the last couple of years because things have gotten quite a bit bigger, and there's just a lot of moving pieces. So I don't go to quite as many as I used to. I try to hit 3 of them, I think, a year is what I'm down to right now. But, our team goes to, I don't know, we probably hit close to 8 or 10 this year. So, yeah, it's definitely difficult, because when you're away from the office, I mean, things are still going on, whether or not you're here or not. So it's just, you definitely got to plan for it. That's for sure. So
would you like to see me adjusting one of your mounts in slow motion, Blake?
that'd be great. Yeah.
It's like really slow motion too.
Yeah.
Watch this. Fog. That's there on Lake Hartwell. Watch this. Here it is. Boom. Right there. And then
I love it.
I got the single now because I moved up to the 16-inch screen. So I have the single. So like the double, I would only pop up one. Single, I adjust it up. It pops up once, then it pops up again.
Yeah.
I missed this one because I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. So like if you look at that, I'm ready to cast, catch, count.
Locked in right there, man.
So if you look at when I adjust this right here, I'm going to pause it right there. Okay. So like during crappie season, this screen up here, this is what you do. And then here's a little trick. Then you put the cover on this screen, and then you can see here, it also adjusts. So you make it 90 degrees. So you have a tabletop. And then when you're out crappie fishing, should you choose to have a cold beverage or your baits or whatever, you have like a table right there that it's just sitting on it. So you're scoping with no back issues, and your Coca-Cola is right there on a plate for you.
That's awesome. Multifunctional. So
multifunction. All right. Anything else you want to get in here before I let you go? I think that's what I hear is the machines whirring in the background of the office where you're at there.
Yeah. No, I don't have a whole lot else, man. Excited to see if anybody makes it to the Classic. Come talk to us. We got a lot of new things coming. We'll have the whole booth there. All the sales team, engineering team will be there for a couple of days too. So got any new ideas you want to talk to us about? It's a great time to meet us and go through some stuff.
Have you had that? Have you had guys that just walk up and were like, man, let me hit you with this problem, and then it turns into an actual product?
Yeah. Honestly, the quick release models was something that came out of that. So basically people, they loved our mount at the time, but we didn't have a quick release base. I think we were the first company to come out with something like that as well, but they wanted to put their covers on for storage, and our mount would stick up into where their cover was at. So we made that quick release base so you can just pop it off.
Oh, yeah. That's why I don't have a quick release.
No.
And I always have to.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now I understand why they do. I thought it was if you just didn't want to take your graphs off of, screw your graph off of the mount and take it in for safety reasons and just unplug it. But that would totally, like I finagle it to where it works now with the Bass Cat cover, but that would be so much easier.
Yeah. Especially if a Bass Cat, you have that little lip that you can actually stick your graph down inside of. A lot of boats
that's why it works. Yeah.
So that whole quick release idea, like that was just something somebody was talking to us. We're like, man, it'd be really nice if you guys could make a way to the whole thing to come off and back to the drawing board, and that's what it came from. So you never know. One little conversation can spark an idea and turn into something big. So
well, I'll see you at the Classic. I'll be at the Beatdown booth for a portion of that. You come by, talk about it. It is a product that I 100% believe in. A little bit behind the scenes, a little bit of the new stuff that's coming out. So try to get those who support the show and the products that I believe in on, and Beatdown is definitely one of them. So I appreciate it, Blake.
Yeah. Thanks,
Safe travels. It's going to be sketchy weather, of course, on all the travel days down there. So it's like we get the sketchy weather in Oklahoma, and then we follow it to Tennessee. So
absolutely. Well, hey man, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
All right. See ya.
Yep. Later.
There you go. Blake Price, owner of Beatdown. I've ran them for the past 5 or 6 years on all of them. I will say this is the one thing, and there's no getting around it, because it is a quality product, because it is almost virtually indestructible. Like my cat would be like 75 to 76, and I'm getting like 72, 73 out of it. It's just weight on the bow. I've talked with like Rick and all the other guys about it on how it works. And then when you combine that with the lithiums in the back, the balancing is not bad, but like a lot of times, like what you'll do to counterbalance that is then you put the lead plates in the bottom of the lithiums on the back. You get a little bit more bow lift with a little bit more weight down in the back. But to me, it's worth the 1.5 miles an hour that I lose overall to have these things rock solid. I've had them from Champlain, Thousand Islands, Okeechobee, Toledo Bend, Rayburn, like Texoma, all the big bodies of water. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we have some more tournaments to talk about. We have the Bassmaster Classic coming out. We're going to be doing a Bassmaster Classic preview with Dave Rush that's going to come out tomorrow. We are also going to take a look into this gem. There's some like really cool stuff in there. So I unearthed one of those boxes that has somehow made it through about 6 moves over the past 20 plus years. And this is a mint condition 1998 press guide souvenir program that I got when I was 13 years old at the 1998 Bassmaster Classic. With the 2026 Classic coming up this week, I'm curious to kind of peruse through these, and this could be a lot that's changed. But peruse through this and see kind of what they were saying back in 1998 about the sport's biggest tournament. It's BTL on a Monday. We'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Before there were hashtags, there were handshakes and shared stories. They gave us confidence to make our first cast and chase our dreams. They taught us to fish, and in the process, taught us about life. They taught us that success isn't just about reaching the top. It's about lifting others up. The future isn't just about selling tackle. It's about 3 simple words. Let's go fishing. Here's to the original influencers.
As a professional angler, there's only one thing that connects you to your paycheck. Probably the most crucial part to tournament bass fishing. I use Sunline because they have a line for every application. Shooter, FX2, All Might, super light line, big stuff, big sticks. Sunline has you covered.
Sharp as can be. Super strong, super durable.
Really good penetration.
Thinner and stronger.
Catch fish after fish.
I want to make sure that I'm using the best stuff possible.
World's finest hook.
World's finest hook.
Gamakatsu. World's finest hook.
When I'm in a tournament, conditions are constantly changing and every second matters. With the Deep Dive app, I can instantly pull up all the current lake conditions all in one spot. So no more looking at weird government websites. In just one quick glance, I have water clarity, water level, wave forecast. It's all right there in the Deep Dive app. Download the Deep Dive app and get all the tools you need to put together an awesome tournament.
All right, welcome back, BTL on a Monday. We're going to chat some classic things, some other tournaments. Pete says, one thing I'd like to know is that commercial for Basscat of Puma STS, but I never see or hear anyone running that boat. I run that boat. I have ran that boat, and I would venture to say it is definitely in the top 3 of the boats that are on tour on the Elite Series and on the BPT as far as the models that guys run. Cougar's also popular, Puma, Caracal, and now the new Lynx that they just kind of the revamped Lynx, new for 2026 that they just came out with. But that Puma STS is hard to beat. It is it's kind of like the standard top of the line that they run. All right. I came across this Classic Report 1998 letter from the president right on the inside page here. And it's just, we're just going to peruse through some of the stuff that I found interesting. I ran a Cougar before this. I've tried to run as many different models as I can. I have not been in the Caracal yet. I kind of go between the Puma and the Cougar. And then I'm going to be in the Lynx, the new Lynx next year, which is kind of the same hull design, that STS hull design from what I believe, and then more of a traditional top cap, new seats, things like that in it. So lot kind of more features. So Best of the West. Remember, this was written in 1998, 2008, 2018, 19, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. God, wait, 28 years ago. Ray Scott says in this, the collector's edition of the Bassmaster Classic Report showcases 5 anglers from Arizona and California and profiles of the pros. You might ask, what's so special about that? Well, let me tell you, the 5 are the best bass fishermen the West has to offer, and they will make bass history whether or not one of them wins it. It was a big deal back then that there were 5 anglers with West Coast roots that were fishing in the Bassmaster Classic. Those 5 at the time were Skeet Reese, who just retired and is selling his Yellow Champion 210 and that monstrosity F650. Like, you can combine them. You could have the classic winning champion, and I think he said it was a 2015 F650, that big giant one, for like, it was like 110, 120 combined if you bought the boat and the truck. It's very black. It's very yellow on the boat. But my buddy Darren's big champion guy back in Illinois, I was like, dude, you need to take all that plumbing money that you've made over the years. You got to shop for it. Get the F650. Get the Canary Champion, classic winning champion. Hook those suckers up. That thing has like a train horn in it that you can do, and roll up to the first stop of the Assumption Bass Club 12 boat tournament of 2026 in that rig, and let people know that you mean business. I think there was maybe, Skeet posted it on his Instagram and Facebook. I think there's maybe like 2% of them that actually considered doing that. Skeet Reese, Greg Hines, Randy Best, Mark Kyle, and Mike Reynolds. The first Bassmaster Classic qualifiers from our new Bassmaster Western Invitational Tournament Trail. So when this came out in 98, we talk about how Bass hasn't gone to the West Coast, talk about the expense of it. They were going to go to the West Coast a couple years ago and then ended up rescheduling it. I think the last time they were there was in 2015 off the top of my head, when Justin Lucas won on the Sacramento River. Then you had Lake Havasu. I think that maybe was the same swing when Aaron Martins won on the Baby Bird pattern on Lake Havasu. Red wing Blackbird. Yeah, that's the name of it, where it's pitching it into the Tules. That was the last time they went out west. It's interesting. They're still talking about the innovation of baits. Like, this is Ray Scott that's writing this in 1998. Today, the tried and proven techniques that have been long-standing winners on the massive Western impoundments now have a place in the winning ways on both coasts. Likewise, the Bubba baits invented by the Southerners, used for years in the South, have been modified for success in the West. Who knows? An angler from out west might win this classic using the kneeling and reeling style, deep cranking on High Rock Lake, or a contender from back east might win it by split shotting a finesse worm across a ledge or hump dotting the classic fishery. In either case, regardless of who wins, the classic can now truly be called the test of the best. And I think even though it's now defunct, the Western Invitationals, the anglers who came from out west, he talks a little bit here about how Gary Klein, obviously Jay Yellis, Corvallis out in Oregon, you had Luke Clausen, who I believe was Washington. Gary Klein was a California guy who kind of came down from Texas. You had, Rojas, but at the time it was just cool. There's a whole generation. Like I'm looking at like the Justin Lucases who are 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. At that time, the Cody Myers from Idaho's, those type of guys, I think if you go back, I would venture to say that the result is Ray trying to get more money by going out west was a big part of that. This was the year that Mark Davis won Angler of the Year. And one of the things that you'll also notice here is how prevalent success is with the number of ads you have in the magazine. So like there's Mark Davis, Angler of the Year. And then on the very next page, bottom double, look at that, a very svelte Mark Davis who just had a really good week down in Texas. They're top 10. There he is with the Bass Cat 1998 Bass Angler of the Year. And then I thought this was also interesting too. So this was the year after Dion Hibden, who just passed away, one of the most respected and innovative anglers in the history of competitive bass fishing Hall of Fame member, along with his father. But it really kind of goes into some really cool stuff, and a lot of pullouts in here about Dion and his year, and a lot of talking about the spider grub, which was kind of becoming popular there, where they're throwing it suspended in rock fisheries. So the spider grub, if you remember, has the twisty tails on it, but then it also has the skirt collar on it, that's made out of plastic. Looks suspiciously close to the urchin style baits that we're throwing now. Then this got me. I thought this was way before the time that everyone was just, you get your can of potted beans or your can of potted meat, you head out on the water, you grind it out, you come back in, you drink a couple yellow bellies, and you go to bed. But this was in 98. This was 27 years ago. And they're talking about how Dion went to Tulsa, Oklahoma to see a sports psychologist prior to his classic win. We've talked a lot about that on the show. Matt Steffen talked about how he's gone and seen one. There's his sports psychologist that he went and saw specifically for bass fishing. Dr. Julie Ness has counseled such high-profile anglers as Dion Hibden, Kenyon Hill, O.T. Fears, and Ken Cook, as well as many other pro athletes and corporate leaders. And it kind of goes into the mental side of it, which I thought was unique. I didn't think they were thinking about that 27 years ago. There's more, you win the classic, more advertising in it. We're kind of getting to the point. Oh, I got to show this picture. This is Skeet before the black and yellow. Look at that. Look at that young Skeet Reese right there. With the vest, the Wrangler jeans, the immaculate hairline, the starched white shirt. Unbelievable. I got to find this ad. So we all know what happened with Hank Cherry. This is a full page ad back in 1997. There it is right there. This is actually for like Tylenol, BC, headaches, body aches, fever, for bass, for crappie. There it is right there. 27 years ago. The curly tail grub. They told you it was for bass right there. This brought back a lot of memories because I had this on Windows 95 at home and I played it religiously. Bassmaster Classic Tournament Edition 3D computer fishing game. Been waiting your whole life to fish the classic? The wait is over. I wonder if my parents still have this at home. I had this game. I played it day in and day out. I also had one that Fish Fishburne had but it kept glitching every time you hooked a big one, and it drove me nuts as a 12-year-old because I would hook the Muy Grande, the lunker of the lake, and then it would freeze on me back in the mid 90s. But the Bassmaster Classic, I'm curious if anyone else was into those games. Here's something. This is back when Berkeley came out with Frenzy. Remember they had the whole Frenzy stuff with the real 3D. Those go for a lot of money right now on eBay. I gotta get to this next article here. Just the style of the Classic was immaculate. Let's just take a gander at David Fritz as they get ready for the locals. The butt seat, which is now back in style, the penny loafers, the short shorts, which are now back in style, the highlighting on the jersey, which matches the aqua shorts, and a very flat brimmed hat with aviators. David Fritz was 30 years ahead of his time back then. It's unbelievable. What is his hat then? Oh, and he's got a Mountain Dew hat on. That's a Mountain Dew hat, folks. Yeah, that is basically Robert G. Incarnated. Here's what's new at the 1998 Bassmaster Classic. Backed by popular demand, avoid the long lines for a good seat. A limited number of reserved. This is interesting. A limited number of reserved seating tickets for the final weigh-in are now on sale. Regularly $25, Bass members can reserve a seat for only $15 plus Ticketmaster fees. Life members should call for a life member discount. First come, first serve, but hurry, reserve seats are going fast. This was back in 1998, High Rock Lake, the Bassmaster Classic. It was like the end of the world a couple years ago, or last year, I think, in Texas, when the city of Fort Worth, I think, made people get free tickets in order to track how many people went there. If Bassmaster in 2026 came out and said, hey, if you want a good seat on the final day weigh-in, it is $25, people would be burning couches in the streets of Knoxville. Just like to point that out. They had a country music fest, kind of like what they do here. They'll have some guys that sing. This year, Mark Chestnut performed right before the final day weigh-in. The McKeithans, the Anchormen, Clark Family Experience, Jim and Jesse and the Virginia Boys, Margot Smith and Holly and the Cumberland Boys, and Randall Franks were all playing there. You could buy tickets for $12, $10 at Ticketmaster, available at everything. The Classic sponsors, I wonder if there's any that are left. Ranger Trail, Mercury, because remember they had to use the Ranger boats back then. Every single person fish have a Ranger boat, I believe. Mercury, Chevy trucks, AC Delco, Voyager batteries, Kmart, I don't think that's even around anymore. Humminbird, Zircon Marine, Jersey's Activewear, Wrangler, Flowmaster, Plano Motor Guide, the state of North Carolina, the city of Greensboro, and the Greensboro Sports Commission. There was one more article that I wanted to talk about here. A lot of like aspirational ads in here, you know, the whole dream rig that you can get from that. And then this thing has like 4 pullouts in it where it goes like 4 pages long. Like there it is. That is the top end 1998 Chevy truck, Ranger boat, and Mercury motor of your dreams, presenting the Bassmaster Classic team. and then you had to fold it all back in, and I'd like to keep this in top. I would like, okay. This is where it gets to it right here. There is an article in here on how to observe the classic Navy. I said 26 years ago right here. This is, or how to observe the classic Navy. This is by Craig Lamb. Just had Craig Lamb on the show last year when he was inducted into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. These are the tips and tactics if you are going to attend the 1998 Bassmaster Classic on High Rock Lake and go on the water to listen or to watch. The invisible boundary line dividing the Bassmaster Classic playing field from its spectator gallery is like no other in professional sports. No ropes, chains, or concrete barriers exist to keep fans off the field. No security officers to keep the crowd back. Only an unwritten code based purely on respect keeps onlookers away from professional anglers in the World Championship event. Unfortunately, I'm going to skip down a little. Unfortunately, some observers unknowingly handicap their heroes by crossing into their fishing areas. The situation can be frustrating, especially when a $100,000 World Championship or high finishes are on the line. The memorable shift came in 1992 Classic held on Logan Martin. Spectators were a factor, further magnified by the proximity to Birmingham. Talks a lot about how guys would be like fishing docks, and then like 30 boats would pull up, and then the waves would hit the boats. This is a collective of suggestions from Denny Brower and a number of other pros. And it's ironic that he is doing this because Denny Brower would go on to win this tournament. This magazine came out before that and made the black and blue 4-inch flipping tube popular. Denny said, "Nobody understands the value of fans more than I do, but I don't know the solution. Most of them understand what we have on the line, and that's the future of our livelihood, not unlike they strive for in their own careers." Collectively, Browners Pros offered these suggestions to the classic spectator fleet. Follow their advice, and you'll avoid handicapping your favorite pro. He'll appreciate your support, especially if he does well. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. Wonder if anybody can guess this. First one is respect the water. The classic fishery is a public domain. However, it is common courtesy to avoid copying the pros' patterns or fishing in the same spots during the competition. Instead, consider applying what you've learned after the tournament is over and when you get back to your home lake. If you combine fishing with your classic vacations, consider a trip to other, less crowded waters in the area. Quiet, please. Competitive bass fishing requires intense concentration, especially at the Classic, where the world's top bass pros are fishing against each other and against the clock. Avoid shouting or speaking too loudly, lest you break the pros' concentration and cause a missed strike. Turn it off. Noise from depth finders, trolling motors, and outboards can be equally disturbing to fish. According to the pros, turn off your engine and electronics. No wake. Boat wakes pose two problems. They can swamp boats. They can make it difficult to cast accurately to a fishing spot. When approaching a contestant, back off the throttle and idle to within a safe distance of his fishing area. Try to anticipate his direction and avoid drifting into that path. Bringing a pair of binoculars to view the action up close is suggested. And then finally, the start-finish line. The launch ramp is not unlike the starting line of a stock car race. It's the mark from which the 46, I think there's like 62 in this Classic. Back then, there were only 46 guys in the Classic. Is the mark from which the 46 boats depart from the final morning and to which they return in the afternoon. Shotgun starts are long gone from the Classic for safety reasons. I need to have someone on who is part of the shotgun starts, because I'm still getting really bad Bassmaster Open numbers, and I lobbied Bass to go back to a 200 boat shotgun start in the Bassmaster Opens, which shockingly fell on deaf ears, but I would love to hear some old shotgun start stories. It is a mark from which 46 boats depart from the morning in which they return. Shotgun starts are long gone. Classic However, traffic really gets congested at the ramp during launch and weigh-in times. The wait caused by 46 speeding boats to and from this location can be dangerous. Try to avoid the areas during launch. Have your boat out early so you can get a good seat at the Coliseum. It makes for a long, hot day when you're competing against the clock for your job security, sums up Brower. As for me, I'd much rather sit in an air-conditioned comfort of the Coliseum and see everybody come in for the weigh-in, or if that isn't possible, watch it all happen at home on the Bassmasters. Maybe a little prelude, a little precursor. This was in 97. Keyword live wasn't in there, but he said, wait. Are we entertained with this, or do we want to wrap this up and talk about the other two tournaments? Because, I mean, we've got the 46 competitors and some fun facts about them. Should I go through who was in that 98 Classic? And if I, off the top of my head, what I can remember about him: Mike Otten, Chris Baumgardner, Randy Best, Tommy Biffle. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend. Randy Blockett in the 98 Classic. That's where I first met Randy Blockett as a 13-year-old. He's 6'2", 185 pounds, 36 years old, and single. This is interesting. I'm going to give everyone 30 seconds. Randy Blockett's hobbies in 1998. He has one hobby listed in 1998. We'll come back to it. I just want to see if anybody can guess what Randy Blockett's sole hobby was in 1998. It's actually fairly admirable, depending on how you go about it. At the time, he had 4 classics. He had 4 top 10 finishes. He's had 1 win. All of his sponsors. He had H2O Optics, Jim Gilmore Productions, Lucky Strike, Lunker Lure, Marine. He was still with Megabass, Mercury, Motor Guide, Quicksilver Accessories, Ranger Boats, Tough Line, and Zercom Electronics. He's described as a cerebral angler in this. Blockett's affinity for bass fishing has also given him an even greater awareness of how the future of bass fishing is linked to the health of our environment. If we do not change our ways of polluting, overdeveloping, and overpopulating the planet in not too many years, all aspects of our sport, including the Bassmaster Classic, will cease to exist. Their change must be made one person at a time. His sole hobby is environmental protection at this. One of the first, you had the Hibdons, obviously. One of the first father-son duos, and this is cool because I didn't know that this existed until I opened it. There's Chad and Denny Brower, and that right there is a genuine Hancock from Denny Brower. This magazine has not been open since 1998 until today. Well, until I perused through it and saw it. Denny would go on to win that classic. Let's see what it says here. But while a classic win would certainly be a cornerstone in this former bricklayer's fishing career, it might not be his most memorable bass tournament. Denny's choice watching his son Chad win his first top 100 event. Just saw this next angler at the Bassmaster Opens. At the time, he is single, 5'11", weighed 170 pounds, enjoyed bow hunting and duck hunting out of Hot Springs, Arkansas. 32 years old. Stephen Browning. Now his son Bo Browning is on the Bassmaster Elite Series. Rick Clunn, 52 years old. Back in 1998, he's still going at it. We're in the legend section here. We got Rick Clunn. We got George Cochran. We got Mark Davis, Randy Fight, Dion Hibdon, Mark Hickenbottom, who won the Bass Nation there. A very young Kenyon Hill out of Norman, Oklahoma. His dad, Dr. Lauren Hill, and Kenyon, inventor of the Biosonics, which was recording underwater baitfish sounds and then putting them into a box and then emitting those sounds underwater. well, Biosonics then was, I think, bought by TH Marine, and then it was turned into I can't remember the name of it now, and I've got him. That goes woo, woo, KVD power pattern. What is that called? The where it does all the bait fish sounds underwater, and every single person had one for 20 years. I thought I had one up here. Anyway, that's who invented that. Greg Hines, Davey Height, Jimmy Houston. This is his last year on the BPT. Right now, before he retires, he would win the Classic. A decade later on Lake Hartwell, I believe the year was 2008. Hydrowave. That's right. Thanks, Kyle. Hydrowave. All this is off the top of my head, so don't crucify me if I get some of this wrong. But there's Alton Jr., now on the BPT as well. Rob Kilby, Mark Kyle, Stacy King, Danny Kirk, Gary Klein, Don Knecht out of New Mexico. Dude, this Classic was wild. It was one of the last Classics that had both Jimmy Houston and Roland Martin in the Bassmaster Classic. At the time, he was 58, and he was a television host. Although a Classic win has eluded him, the game is not over yet. According to Martin, I don't plan on retiring until I'm 70 or win my 10th Angler of the Year title and at least one Bassmaster Classic. Roland Martin, legendary, 9 Angler of the Year titles. Second, KVD, I believe, was 7. But interesting here in 1998 at 58, he was still that motivated to get another Angler of the Year title and win a Classic. Neither of which happened. Now this is rich right here. The 1998 Bassmaster Classic featured Roland Martin and Scott Martin. However, it was a different Scott Martin that was in the Bassmaster Classic. What are the freaking odds at the time, that many years ago, that a different Scott Martin would make the Classic with Roland Martin? Took advantage of a golden opportunity, winning the South Carolina Bassmaster Invitational, and ended up qualifying for his first Classic in the Kmart Top 100 Tour. Martin's invitational win proved that he has what it takes to play and stay on the senior circuit. He was raised in South Carolina, started bass fishing at an early age. That's wild stuff. All right, Stanley Mitchell. I believe Stanley Mitchell, and this is a record that could go down this week. At 21 years old, Stanley Mitchell was the youngest winner of the Bassmaster Classic. Everyone knows him from winning the Classic, but he won it at 21 years old. There are, I want to say, 3 anglers in the Classic field, I think, that are younger, and I would give some pretty good odds that may be in jeopardy this week. Jimmy Mize, Gene Mobley, Dan Moorhead, Rick Morris, Kemp Reel, Skeet Reese, Mike Reynolds, Randall Romig, Zell Rowland, Bernie Schultz, Ron Shuffield, Ted Soley. Look at Gerald Swindle. In 1998, there is a 28-year-old, 6'3", 188-pound single Gerald Swindle. Very cool to see him still doing it. Mark Tucker, rest in peace. He'd have a really impressive career, pass away after deer hunting a couple years ago. Very well-liked, well-respected angler, had a big win in a Bassmaster Open in Texas on a weighted Rogue, actually, in a really tough event. And the man, the myth, the legend, in 1998, Kevin Van Dam. At the time, he had 3 top 10 finishes in 97, 98. He had fished in 7 classics. He had only won 4 tournaments. His career earnings were $659. This is kind of when they knew Kevin would be good. He'd won the Angler of the Year in his rookie season and Rookie of the Year in the same year too. Kevin burst onto the Bassmaster Tournament Trail in 91, set a blistering pace, soaring to the Angler of the Year title in 92, and taking the points title again in 96. Van Dam certainly made believers of any doubters who remained. And judging from his performance this season, Van Dam may become the Michael Jordan of bass fishing, since his fellow competitors can't possibly think of stopping this angling force, only containing him for a while. With a Kmart Top 100 victory on the Potomac River, second at Bugs Island, Virginia Invitational, Kevin turned in yet another typically brilliant season that culminated in his 8th consecutive Classic appearance in 8 years on tour. The fact that Kevin Van Dam has not won a Bassmaster Classic only points out the extreme difficulty in winning the most prestigious title in professional bass fishing. He would obviously go on to win 4. Then you've got Clark Wendlet, who is also retired. Kevin Worth, former jockey, won the Lead Series. This was his first Classic in 1998. He's since retired. I think he's a equine dentist now. And Jay Yellis. Jay Yellis rounding out who would also go on to win. So there it is. There's the Classic report for the 1998 press guide. Kind of a little trip down memory lane. I do want to thank all of you guys who have signed up for the BTL Supporting St. Jude Fishing Chaos online tournament that runs from March 1st through April 15th. It's been awesome. I can jump on and see how many we're at 150 anglers. We've raised over $3,500 for St. Jude. It's awesome to go in here. And if you do this, you can sign up now. It's not like you missed the entry. You can just get your 5 longest fish, use capital BTL10 at Omnia Fishing to get 10% off of your measuring board. You want one that goes longer than 18 inches or else you're not going to have a shot to win this already. I can confidently say that. If you want to know more about it, you can go to Fishing Chaos, you log in, free to create a profile. It's $25. 100% of the proceeds go to St. Jude, BTL St. Jude nationwide tournament. I've gotten a lot of DMs on my Instagram, some emails from guys who jumped in who hadn't done it and were like, dude, I freaking love it. I see it. When you sign up, you get an identifier and you put your identifier in there. And then there is a northern region, a southern region, and the big 3, which is California. You can see where you stack up, where it is, whatever. So like on the southern region, 112 inches is leading it at 23, 23, 23, 22, and 19.75. We got cash and prizes for the top 3 in each division. Danny Langford holding in strong. Now you can fish multiple tournaments too. If you want to jump in the Strike King, if you want to jump in the Bill Dance, you just have to have like all of those different identifiers. When you take the picture, shows you how to take it. It's super easy. You upload it like just like that. Like there it is, touching. There's the moniker for it. That's a 21-inch bass. That's a really nice bass. I've measured 1 in here and I'm getting absolutely smoked already. I need to go fishing. 31 inches. There it is. There's mine right there. I caught a 21.5 incher. There it is. I measured it. You can see, you can go back and see who they are. If you're in the north, it's opening up 98.75 inches. Philip Wade on the top of that one. God, that's a nice small. Look, yeah, we went through these with Frank. He's absolutely crushing these with the smallmouth. Look at the size of that smallmouth for Frank Mullins. We'll get you on BTL if you do well. And like I said, even if you just go out, if you're fishing club tournaments, team tournaments, fun fishing, public body of water, it could be handwritten. Public body of water, artificial lures, March 1st through April 15th, and then see where you stack up. Dalton Albright won the first week. Good thing is Dalton can't win the $25 gift code for AFCO again. He won it with a 27 incher. That was a large fish. I think Tom called him to kind of check on it and talk about it. I think he said it was around 11 and a half pound fish, but 26, 23. And once you win it, you're out. So that guy's on some donkeys. But if you have any questions, if you want to get involved with that, like I said, 100% of it goes to St. Jude. It's kind of one of the fundraisers that we're doing for the St. Jude Bass Classic to raise money. All the teams that are in it raise money. Was looking for some unique ways to bring the BTL listeners together. The goal is to get $10,000. We're a week in now, a little over a week in, 9 days in, we're at 150. Even if you just go fish once, you can count it as a donation, but I promise you want to get involved here. And then the cool thing is once you do it, you can sign, you can do the big Bill Dance thing. But if you've ever wanted to fish the Open, Strike King's also doing qualifiers where if you finish in the top section, like I think the top 25 of each one of your divisions, and you get to go to an in-person tournament on Table Rock. So you basically qualify for it online, and then it's an in-person tournament. Then the winner of that gets free open entry fees for the 2027 season. So you can fish for both of them. I think it's only like $20. I think that's all we got. We got Dave Rush on tomorrow. We're going to talk about a Bassmaster Classic preview. Shout out to Blake, Beatdown Outdoors. Big supporter of BTL, behind the scenes with it, smaller trading companies going through Bassmaster Classic. See the new products, movers and shakers. If you're there at the Bassmaster Classic, the info for where you can meet me and Frank Scalish at the Pradco booth. It's Friday afternoon, Saturday, I think at like 4 something. It's on their shows. I'll put all that out on the social media. I'll also be at the Pro Guide Battery booth, Pro Bass Adventures. If you want to talk about Mexico, we got 2 of those trips coming up in December, like long time from now, December and January. Whether you're trying to decide between El Salto, Bacharach, the duration, how you get down there, questions that you have, I'll be around there. And then also the Beatdown, the AFCO, Sunline, Gamakatsu, Spro booth, and we'll do a couple live shows if you're not able to be there, just like we did last year, kind of wandering around the Classic, a little bit of a jackpot. You don't really know who you're going to get from that. But all right, this has been another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live. Same time, same place tomorrow, and then we head to the Bassmaster Classic on Wednesday. We'll talk to everybody then. See ya.